Will a third-party candidate emerge after Super Tuesday? More than a dozen states will hold their primary races in just 3 days, and then 3 days after that, the centrist group No Labels says that it plans to evaluate their chances of pushing for a third-party choice. This is the statement No Labels gave to us. On March 8, we will gather our 800 delegates from all 50 states who would ultimately approve a final unity ticket to discuss the path forward. Nikki Haley says she's rejecting a third-party No Labels presidential bid possibility because she wouldn't be able to work with a Democratic vice president. Meanwhile, American Values 2024, that's a political action committee that's helping Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential bid, says it has gathered enough signatures to get his name on the Arizona and Georgia ballots in November. President Biden narrowly won both of those states by less than half a percentage point in 2020. The PAC also says that it plans to spend up to $15 million to target 10 other states, including Texas, California, New York, and the critical battleground state of Michigan, where President Biden faced a sizable protest vote from uncommitted primary voters this week. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spoke at the California Libertarian Party convention last weekend. He's also been invited to speak at the New York Libertarian Convention as well. They're going to decide who their nominee will be Memorial Day weekend. When asked if RFK Jr. was still in contention for the Libertarian line on the ticket, the party's National Committee chairwoman, Angela McArdle, told us, yes, he is. Joining me now is Matt Welch. He's the editor-at-large at Reason, the nation's leading libertarian magazine, where he recently wrote this piece, Presidential Ballot Will Be Crowded with Third-Party Candidates. So, Matt, nice to have you back. What chance is there that RFK Jr. ends up as the Libertarian nominee?
I would put it right now as pretty much slim, none, and fat. He was just at the California Libertarian Party convention, as you just mentioned, and they held a straw poll afterwards. 95 votes, he got 1. He came in 11th place. Lars Mapstead got 24. He has a series of decidedly non-libertarian policy positions on things like environmental regulation and the minimum wage, free speech, and plenty other things besides. And libertarians are like wet cats. They're very difficult to herd, and they don't like to be told by rich, famous outsiders that they need to vote for their candidates. So I don't think it's very likely. Can
he get on 50 state ballots without being on the Libertarian line? As I just mentioned, he just got on Georgia and Arizona. Those are 2 battleground states.
Yes. So there's 2 main ways that you can get on ballots as a non-traditional presidential candidate. One is through the long, slow, joyless, patient slog of party building, voluntarism, and just fighting in the trenches over multiple cycles. The Libertarian Party does that very, very well. They've been on 50 plus 1 state ballots for the last several elections. The other way is to throw a whole bunch of money at the problem. RFK has a whole bunch of money. He already has raised more money than any Libertarian ticket ever has or ever probably will in the near term. So if you throw money at it, which he can and already has been doing, then you can hire the signature gatherers, hire the lawyers to fight the states that are throwing all kinds of incredible roadblocks at them, including Kansas, which is just about ready to quadruple its signature requirement based on a law that's going to be signed probably in the coming days.
Next Friday, No Labels gathers, 50 states, 800 delegates. I'm wondering, I remember there was a Republican leader in Philadelphia. I knew him, Billy Meehan. And I'm giving him the credit, whether he deserves it or not, because he's the first person I ever heard say, you can't beat somebody with nobody. Are they going to be able to find someone who is, meeting the criteria they've set forth to be their candidate, their ticket, if they decide to do this?
They're running out of warm bodies. I mean, they were flirting with Joe Manchin for a long time, and he's criticizing them pretty strongly and saying that they're going to play a spoiler role if they run. And they have said going in, we will not be a spoiler. We're not going to hand the election to Trump. We're only going to run if we can win. Nikki Haley just dropped out. Larry Hogan has previously. There's only people like Chris Christie, who is thirsty for the White House, thirsty as Joe Biden used to be before he got there. And I'm not sure that there's this big centrist groundswell in American politics right now. People are fed up with establishment politicians. They're not really eager for more third-party establishment politicians. So I would take the under on them going forward.
I don't agree. If your argument is there's not a groundswell for Chris Christie, that I believe all the data shows it. But I look at all the data you do, and 3/4 of Americans, they want another choice. I think the moon and the stars have lined up for this election, but you got to have candidates. You've got to have, and I've not heard any names so far that I think, okay, that's the ticket. You get the final word. Go ahead.
Yes, I agree with you, and there's going to be a stronger third party showing this time than we've seen since Ross Perot. The question is to who and to where. I think No Labels has some internal contradictions that they need to work out and that they haven't at all. And so it's just a question of who are the bodies in the field. Right now, that body is RFK.
Matt, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.